And Peter doesn't leave his relationship with Jesus out in a distant fashion from his family. He brings him home and makes sure that his family is positively impacted by that faith. I don't know about you, but the family I was raised in didn't really bring Jesus home much. There were a lot of times when there were things that could have used a great solution provided by heaven, but we just didn't seem to get it. Whatever your family status today, whether you're single or married, whether you have kids or whether that's still a future possibility, but the family that is defining, the family that is in your life from here until the time you leave to go to heaven, have you brought Jesus home to your family? It's interesting as the story unfolds, telling the life of Jesus, that the life of Peter runs alongside it. The very next chapter, Peter's at work one day. His profession was fishing. And he's fished all night on the Sea of Galilee and has realized no result at all. Fished all night, caught nothing. And Jesus comes and borrows his boat and sets out from the edge of the lake to teach the people. And when he finishes, it's late morning, it's noon, and he comes back and suggests to Peter that he ought to go and set his boat up in the middle of the lake and drop the nets and catch a bunch of fish. That was completely unreasonable if you were a fisherman on the Sea of Galilee. They fished the Sea of Galilee in the night hours, not the daytime hours. The fish would come up in the shallows to feed, and they would drag the nets in the shallows in the dark, and they'd catch the fish there. That lake is 150 feet deep at the center, and it just put the fish out of reach of their nets. But Peter took Jesus' advice and went out into his professional life and took a big risk. He was going to do his professional life the way Jesus suggested. And the story is unusual in that it recounts a massive result. That Peter's catch that day exceeded anything they would have expected. In fact, the text says that they caught such a large number of fish that their nets began to break. It exceeded their expectations to see what God could do when their work was done in a way that was directed by him. Have you brought Jesus to work with you? Has the way you approach your job become different because of your relationship with him? The New Testament says, whatever you do, work at it with all your might, knowing that it's God that you're serving while you're there. For some Christians, that means that they have to re-examine their professional life and ask if they can really do what they do for a living in a way that honors God. Is the profession that they pursue one that advances healthy and righteous and positive human outcome? Or is it something that plays to the dark side? And then as you go about it on a daily basis, is satisfying a customer the highest level of performance? Or is satisfying God's expectations an even greater challenge? I found in my business life that meeting God's expectations were way beyond the limitations that my customers expected. That his standards were greater than mine, and mine were greater than my customers'. And that if I could satisfy God's expectations, there was no problem satisfying my customers. You may have that mindset as you go to work every day. If not, you need to probably learn what Peter learned, and that was that your work done in a way that follows God's direction is the best way you could ever do it.